If you need any My Team grinds in any mode, hit up my boy Witty for safe, reliable, and the cheapest grinding services around. Hit him up on Twitter. You won't be disappointed. Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be ranking the best centers in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM here on this tier list. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. We got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the first center on this list. I think I'm going B tier for Kareem. Kareem, I don't love the jumper. Don't feel like he's quite as dominant as Wilt on the inside. There are a lot of good centers in the game. I think honestly Kareem and Wilt's values a little bit more at the power forward position than it is at the center position, just because their size can create so many mismatches at power forwards. At center, not quite as much. They're not great poppers. I think B is the right spot for Kareem, to be totally honest. Dikembe is probably the worst card in this list. He's an easy D tier, may he rest in peace, but his jumper isn't very good, and he's got a 43 ball, and he's not extremely fast to make up for it. He's an inside big, not a card I'd really recommend running. Kristaps Porzingis is an obvious S tier, arguably the best center in the game. It's either him or Opal Wemby. He's got by far the best stats and badges of any center in the game. He's 7'2" with a money jumper. I would say overall he's the best center in the game. He is an extremely good card with honestly very little real flaws. In fact, I don't really know if there is an actual thing you can point to and say is a real flaw on that KP card. Alex Sarr, I don't think I would go higher than B tier on him either. I'm going to be pretty strict on this list. So a card like Sarr is a very good budget card, but doesn't have like elite speed, isn't dominant in any specific area. Feels like a B tier guy to me, in all honesty. I just think there's a lot of good centers. I think he's definitely very solid, but I think there are some guys in this list that are better. He's like high B. I like the card. Wemby's obviously S tier, no doubt about it. Second best center in the game behind KP, if you want to put it that way. Jumper's basically uncontestable. The speed on this one versus the pink diamond is noticeable. He is dominant defensively, and he's just an absolute menace of a card. Also can get every single badge, which is extremely good badge completeness, especially for a player his size. With 85 speed too, he's just insane. Bol, I can't go higher than B tier with Bol. He's not strong, and he's not super fast, and he's not an elite defender across the board, really. He does have a glitchy player ability. He is 7'2". He is still usable, but I wouldn't call him elite. I think B tier is probably fair. Jaren Jackson Jr. is only listed at 6'10", but looks noticeably bigger, has a great wingspan, an awesome jump shot, and is an elite, switchable, versatile defender. I think he's A tier, even at the center position. I like the card a lot. Got no issues with him up there whatsoever. Joel Embiid, I'm going to go A tier as well. Honestly, he could certainly be argued S tier. He might even wind up getting moved up to S tier, but he's an awesome card who's great defensively, money jump shot. Great on the interior, has good size at 7 foot as well. Really good card, definitely an A tier guy to me. I think Vlade's low A as well. I would take him over all the guys in B tier for sure. I mean, it's 85 speed. He's versatile defensively. He's a great pick and popper. And honestly, he's not weak or anything either. He's 7'1", so he's got real size. Like, he's a guy who feels like a pretty easy A tier option on this list. Zach Edey, similar to Sarr, is going to go B tier, 7'5" giant, but he is slow with only that 60 speed, which is noticeable. He's a great shooter. That size is hard to put a value on, in all honesty, and yet I still think he's got to go B tier. Not a card I particularly recommend. Arvydas Sabonis, if he had like 75 strength, would be decent. He's got 50 speed, or sorry, if he had 75 speed, he'd be pretty decent. He's got 50 speed. He's unusable. That's the honest truth. He's just too slow. I don't think you can find a just spot for him, in all honesty. On the court, being smaller than Edey and slower than Edey. I mean, he's basically a significantly worse Zach Edey, is basically what Sabonis is. I just don't think he's that good of a card. I think D tier is probably the right spot for him. Shaq, same boat as Kareem, non-shooting center. His size and physical domination is more valuable at the power forward position. He's extremely switchable, and he's a great finisher on the inside, but unless you are an elite level shot creator, Shaq limits your offense with his lack of floor spacing. That is a real thing. Marc Gasol, I like, but I got to be honest, I don't think I'd put him higher than C tier. Like high C, maybe low B. I don't love the card by any means. I don't think he's super fast. I don't think defensively he's great. He doesn't have elite size. He's not a card that I look at and go, oh yeah, that dude's a beast. Just honestly not. Greg Oden, I honestly like a card as a card, and I honestly kind of almost like him enough to go B tier with him. He's really good on the inside. He's got a massive player build. His jumper's super smooth. He's a great defender and a great inside finisher. I don't love the speed aspect still, but I think low B is fair for Oden. I like him a lot. Nate Thurmond, got a good jumper, but he's undersized. He's not a great shooter. He's just a little limited overall as a card. Not great. I think C is fair for him. Jokic, same story, just too undersized, not a good enough jump shot, not an elite defender. I think C is fair for him as well. And then Dirk, honestly is also going in the C tier because Dirk is 7-footer, but the jumper's not very good. 85 speed is fine. He's like a significantly worse Vlade Divac. Not as good of a jumper, not quite as complete all the way around. A little bit smaller, just a much worse version of Vlade, kind of is what I think Dirk is at this point. Next up is Pink Diamond Wimby, who is still S tier, still third best option, but there's enough of a gap between the Opal and the Pink Diamond that I think it was worth putting them both on here. The thing is, the Pink Diamond just is not quite as fast, not quite as mobile, lower agility, lower interior, multiple stat boosts that I think actually make a pretty significant difference for this Victor Wembanyama card. And for me, I mean, he's still S tier, but I don't think he's a no-brainer the same way that the Opal is at this point in the game. Patrick Ewing's jumper is absolutely horrendous. He's terrible. I'm not putting him D tier. I just refused. He's not a good card. Karl Anthony Towns jumper's inconsistent. Again, not elite defensively, not extremely fast either. I think C tier is fair for him. I'm putting D-Rob in the A tier. Really like D-Rob. Jumper is money still. Defensively, he's extremely good. He's very fast. He's big. He's versatile. His stats and badges are complete. He's one of the better level 40s we've gotten in the last couple of years. Definitely A tier to me. Big Z, similarly to Edie, money shooter. He's a better shooter even than Edie is. He's a little bit faster than Edie is too, but he's only 7'3". I say only. He's definitely smaller than Edie, and like just similarly to Edie, great card with a speed boost or with a speed deficiency that holds him back from being truly top tier at his position. So again, I think B tier is probably right for him. Yao Ming, I guess Yao is A. I want to put Yao S, but he's like 70 something speed, 70 something 3. He's not an extremely consistent shooter and he's not extremely fast. He's huge and he's really, really good on the inside, but his speed matters. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't. I think A tier is probably the right spot for him. Akeem Olajuwon, I'm going S. I just think, I mean, look, I get he's only 7 foot. His jumper is incredible. He's got legitimate movement for some reason as well. I love this card. I think both him and Embiid, in all honesty, are amazing cards. I'm going to put them both in S tier. I'd rather have both of them than Yao. That feels right to me. Pau Gasol, D tier, terrible jumper, not fast, not elite at anything, honestly. Just not a card I'd really recommend. Kristaps Porzingis, I'm going A tier, 7'2", elite popper, gives you the size and shooting ability that's valuable, kind of like a budget Wimby in a lot of ways. And then finally, Wilt Chamberlain, who gives us our last B tier guy, where it's like him, Kareem, and Shaq are basically the same card. I am going to move Odin down 1 tier. I don't think he's quite on the same tier. I think this is probably fair, but he's not a bad card. I don't know. You know what? I'm not moving Odin down. I like the card too much. I think I'm just going to have a massive B tier. We just have an oversized B tier, but there's just a lot of mid-tier centers in this game. And I think overall, this is a pretty good list. I think this is the fairest list that I could put up with. Even if it's not exactly even, that is all right. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of my center tier list. If there's a center I left off the list, and I know I left a lot of like undersized guys like Anthony Davis, Upper and Şengün, or players like that off this list. If y'all want to hear my thoughts on them, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to go through and get back to most, if not all of y'all. And I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.